Hello, I'm meteorologist Dave Epstein, and it is getting to be fall. These plants, which are sitting outside and have been all summer long, are going to eventually need to go back inside. And there's a couple of steps that I like to do with the plants that I bring in, so I'm not letting some insects hitchhike in there. Now, once they're in, you got to take care of them, so I'm going to tell you about that as well. Well, before I bring any plants inside, one of the things I like to do is check, make sure there's no weeds growing in there. I might take off some of the dead stuff. And then I will look for any evidence of insects. If I see any, I'll try to basically remove those. Step number 2 in my little process is you want to put on some horticultural oil. So horticultural oil, this is an all-season oil, and it says here controls aphids, mites, scales, whiteflies. Those are all things which love to be inside during the course of the winter. So when you spray the horticultural oil on the plant, you're basically removing the insects which may be on there right now, and you're also smothering the eggs which you might bring inside, and that way they're not going to hatch. The next step you want to do is to add a systemic, which is something that goes in the soil like these little granulars here. The plant takes up the poison. It is poison. This is not organic. And any insects that are not controlled with the hort oil will end up getting killed by the systemic. Now, a couple of caveats here. This is poison. If I were going to actually be doing it, I'd have gloves on, which is important, especially if you're mixing it in the soil. The other thing is I would not add it to something that I'm going to eat, like the key limes, right? So if I had limes on this, I don't want to do that because the poison is also going to end up in what you're going to eat. And between the hort oil and the systemic, generally the insects are kept at bay throughout the winter. Once the plants have been treated for insects, it's time to get them inside. And now you have to care for them a little bit differently than you would have if they were outside. So number one, there's less light during the course of the winter. So you want to be sure that you're not watering them as much. Really keep that soil on the drier side because plants aren't growing. Also, don't feed them. November, December, and January are our lowest light months, and you don't want to be feeding your plant in those low light months because the plant's not going to be able to use the nutrients. Think of yourself getting up in the middle of the night and someone feeds you a Thanksgiving meal. You don't really want it, so the plant doesn't want to eat that much. And really check the soil to be sure that it's not too wet. Also be sure that you have a little tray underneath the plant so that it catches the water. You don't want to ruin your furniture or anything like that. And also never have water sitting in the tray because that means that the soil's too moist and it can't absorb the water, so now your plants are going to rot. Many plants will end up dying during the course of the winter because folks overwater them. They treat them the same way in the winter as they do during the growing season, and you really want to cut back on your water in those low light months. Finally, I recommend checking your plants at least every 3 weeks during the course of the winter for insects. And what do you do if you get insects? Well, there generally are some days where the temperature is above 40 degrees over the course of the winter. Take them back outside, spray them with the horticultural oil. There's some that you can have that are already mixed, so you don't need the hose or anything like that, and that should take care of any of those insects. If it's still really cold and you want to take care of them, a garage works or a back porch or something like that, or even inside the shower. I've done that when we've had those long cold stretches where you just can't get your plants outside. What questions do you have for me? Are there plants which you have a challenge with? I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe.